Are you wanting to get better at Hardpoint in League play on Cold War? Well, you're in the right place. This video is going to show you the best tips and tricks on how you can improve your overall gameplay in Hardpoint. Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. My name is Invin. Today I am going to be bringing you guys a guide on the best tips and tricks on how you can improve your Hardpoint gameplay instantly. If you are new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below as we are posting daily COD content. And if you do enjoy the video, make sure you drop me a like down below and let me know in the comments which map is your favourite for Hardpoint. So jumping straight into today's video, I'm just going to be going over all of my best tips and tricks on how you can instantly improve your gameplay to become better at Hardpoint. We're going to go over some general stuff and then we're going to jump into some of the more in-depth stuff as well there to give everybody at least something they can take away from this video. So starting off first of all is awareness of the rotations. Now this is fairly easy in Cold War as they are shown to you on the minimap and of course in their HUD, but being aware of where these rotations are going to be is going to be vital before they pop up on the map. This is going to give you the advantage in terms of being able to flip out the spawns to your advantage so that you're in the right position to make sure that you can get the best spawn point for the next hill. It's going to mean that you can rotate early and play for kills of people who are rotating for that hard point if you're playing that Slayer role, which is really useful. And it's going to mean that if you are playing that top AR role, you can get into a position which defends the current hard point, but is also in a good position to rotate around very quickly for the next hard point as well. So it's very crucial to learn the rotations. The next tip is to make sure that you are aware of the minimap at all times. Now this obviously goes hand in hand with the hard point rotations one, but also so that you're making sure you know where your team is and more importantly where the enemies are going to be. This is going to make sure that you're more aware of which angle they're going to push the hard point from. Even on the open aired hard points, there's usually one or two sections that the enemies will come from at once. Of course they can flank and things like that, but generally speaking, if you've got a good idea of where your team is, you've got a good idea of where the enemies will be as well. When you are playing hard point, there is three main terms that you will hear. The hill, which is the current hard point, which is active, and this is where you'll be getting your time from. So every second that you run a hard point, you get a point towards your final total score. First to 250 wins. You will also hear people say they're on the rotation, which means that enemy team or your current team, it should be going for the next rotation now. So either we're going for rotation, it's your team going for it, or they're on the rotation, which will be the enemy team going for the next hill. And you're going to want to make sure that you either counteract that or get ahead of them on the rotation there so that you not get caught off guard and you're also getting the most time possible. Another term that's used a lot in Hardpoint is scrap time. Scrap time is the last few seconds, generally the last 10 to 12 seconds of a hill, where most players on the map will have rotated for the next point, and it just leaves a fight for that previous hill. Now usually what teams will do is leave one or two players on the current objective, usually one player on the hill, one player playing rotations somewhere around the middle of the map, and two players fully going for the next hill, one getting spawns and one getting objective time. Now this will mean that the enemy team will either push straight for the next objective, hold the middle of the map, and potentially as well, depending on how good the team actually is, and obviously where they're spawning as well, because this does make a big impact on what they do, or they could alternatively push the final hill if they're very close to the score, and they might just want to take that final bit of time and then re-push onto the next hill as well. There's several occurrences that could happen here. If you are the man that's holding scrap time, get as much of that time as you can, stay on until the very last second. If you do get challenged and you die, don't worry about it. You're not going to lose too much time on those hills, and their team cannot win off only getting the last few scrap bits of time, because you're going to have got the other 40-ish seconds worth of time, so don't worry about it, but just hold as much time as you can. You never want to leave the hill unattended unless there's a good reason for it. So unless you're going out for kills, and unless you're going to kill enemies off rotation so that your team stays safe and keeps spawns, that's the only time you should ever leave the hill with nobody on. But there should always be, ideally, somebody on the hard point. This will mean that you get the score the fastest possible, and also that the enemies are not able to sneak in a few extra points here and there when they do decide to flood that hard point hill. That's another term that you'll hear a lot in Hardpoint is flooding. That just means the whole enemy team, or the majority, 3 or 4 players, are running onto that hill all at once, trying to get those kills, ping people off, and grab the spawns, grab the rotation, and grab that hill as well. So watch out for that. A lot of teams will do it from one door, some teams will do it from 3 or 4 different angles all at once, which is really strategic. So a lot of public matches you won't see this, but if you do go onto a higher competitive level, either Masters or Elite maybe, on League play, and obviously then if you're playing scrims or team versus teams, GBs or whatever, you're going to see a lot more of this gameplay where people have organised pushes all at once onto a hard point. So you're going to want to watch out for that and make sure you've got a guy holding a good position outside the point to pick these guys off when they do try and do things like that as well. Another great tip is to use a gun that's viable for the map. A lot of objective players stick to only SMGs, and this is fantastic because it does mean while you're on the hard point in those close quarters situations, you've got the best weapon possible for that situation. However, it is also really useful sometimes to run an AR. So for example, on raid, when I'm playing objective, some points I will run an SMG, and if I do die in between the rotations, I will then whip out an AR, maybe the XM4 or the Krig 6, especially for rotations like garage and basketball, because you're going to be able to sit back further away from where the entrances to these sites are and hold better angles very easily with these weapons. So it's about switching it up and being adaptive during the gameplay, which is going to be really, really important. And moving on to the last tip here, this is going to be making sure you know when to give up a site. So if you lose a site at 25 seconds remaining on it, it might be that you've all spawned at the next hill and you should probably just set up for the next rotation. This is ideal if you know where the rotations are, linking back to the first point, because it means you're going to know when you've spawned there, you can set up for the next rotation, and you're going to be ahead of the curve on the enemies. If you've got trophies set up, you've got 2 people in position on hill, people waiting for the rotational kills, you're going to be in a very, very solid situation, and that 25 seconds you lose on the previous hill, you're going to get 35 to 40 seconds straight off the bat of the next one, which is going to more than make up for that and put you in the lead above the enemies. So it's really worth doing. Now obviously this is up to your IGL, whoever is taking control of the game and saying, calling the shots. They're probably going to tell us whether we should do a final push or whether we should hold the next one. But generally speaking, if there's anywhere between sort of 25 and 15 seconds left and you get killed off that point, leave them to it, move on to the next one, and make sure you get set up and ready to go. Now if you have found this video helpful, make sure you drop a like down below. If you are new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. We're pushing very, very close to that 250, so your support will be much, much appreciated. Take care and peace.